All right, so hello, welcome to day, whatever this is. What day is it? Um, Day 14 of taking action. I want to tell you a story about something that happened to me today. So um, had YouTube up on the TV and I was just flipping through random clips kind of mindlessly and had a clip of a late night monologue up, and they cut to a clip of the Capitol insurrection from last week. There's nothing hugely violent or graphic, but it's very clearly troubling. And my 3-year-old, who I didn't really think was paying attention, turned to me and he said, "We have a big problem." Um, and I looked at him and I said, "Yeah, we do." And he said, "I am miserable." Which, on the one hand, was really hilarious because I don't know where he's heard that word. He parrots things like that. "We have a big problem" is just a phrase that he has heard at some point and will parrot at times that he finds appropriate. Miserable, I'm sure, is something that he's heard over at some point. I don't know. Um, but on the other hand, I believe very strongly, uh, as a parenting rule for myself, um, that uh, I should take what my kid says seriously. It's one thing that my parents did for me when I was very young that I really appreciated is they never sort of dismissed any questions or thoughts that I had as like, I don't know, all right, what does what does a whatever-year-old know? Um, and so I sat there and I thought, all right, so this is the. It didn't really occur to me that I would ever be in the position of having to solve an existential crisis for my 3-year-old. I assumed I had a couple more years before like the weight of the world would sink in. Um, but I said to him, "Yeah, there are a lot of people that are really frustrated right now, and I think it's important for you to know, no matter what, that most people are good people, and a lot of people are frustrated with each other, and a big part of that is that they don't talk to each other, and that sometimes things can be really scary, um, but that no matter what, most people are good people." And I believe that to a point, and I started to really ask myself, like, is it? There's just that little seed of doubt in my head that is uh, that really wonders. I think even in a historical time, obviously I don't know, wasn't there, but in historical times of famine and uh, Inquisition and Crusades and whatnot, I would still make a good bet that most people are good, and a lot of them may be motivated by bad information, um, but that most people are good. And I think that's an important message to internalize and a difficult one to internalize based on the information diet we all get. But what I don't know is if that holds in the future. One, because there are so many different apocalypses that we're just dancing nimbly around right now. Um, but two is that I don't know that we're going to be always interacting with humans, or at least with un uh, unintermediated humans. Um, there was a period of time a couple months ago where I realized that actually I don't actually communicate with my coworkers anymore. I haven't since about a year ago. What I do is I go down to a room in my house and I talk out loud at a box, and then the box shows me pictures of other people and plays sounds of things that they might say. Um, if you just sort of abstract it out, like, oh, yeah, I feel like I've been having conversation. I haven't. And maybe it's good enough, but probably it's not. And certainly um, I have grown, as I think we all have, more and more fond of video chat as the primary mechanism for having any conversation, because so much gets lost in so many different messages. But I think the fidelity is worse and worse depending on what social media stream or whatever you're using to communicate. And I think one of the things that really scares me is that, eventually when we all come out of lockdown and have the ability to go out and be social again, there are all of these talks about, well, this is kind of a permanent change. This is not, all right, well, we just all stayed inside for 2 weeks, and now we're getting back to normal. There is no back to normal. There is just a new set of norms, and most people are going to continue remote work. And not go into offices and not collaborate face to face, and we'll just rely on these moderated internet avatars of ourselves to get along and collaborate well. And I think it is a huge liability. And I don't know. I am not confident that if we eventually reach this point where the only folks that we communicate with on a regular basis outside of our immediate family is all intermediated through the internet and the filters of what surfaces and what doesn't, and how things are presented, and to say nothing of the performative aspect of ourselves, that I am different. I'm different on camera than I am in person, no matter how hard I might try to drop the facade or come across as somewhat authentic or normal, and it's just not the same. And there are many of you who I feel like I know fairly well, and I don't. I know a shadow and a reflection of you. And I don't know that I would say all reflections of people, or that the majority of reflections of people are good. And it caused me to wonder, is it disingenuous for me to reassure my 3-year-old that most people are good, if there's a good chance that he may not be interacting with people? And, even then, there's nothing to say we're not headed for nuclear Armageddon anyway. So that's what's been on my mind today. I'm not going to go through the spreadsheet of taking actions, but yeah, that's. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.